Most people will never taste true abundance, not because it's out of reach, but because they've been conditioned to believe it is. Since the day they were born, a quiet voice has echoed in their minds: be realistic. Don't aim too high. Don't make waves. And so, they shrink to fit the expectations of the world around them. They trade their dreams for comfort. They abandon purpose for routine. And then they wonder why the fire inside them slowly dies. But you are not most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You feel it, don't you? That burning in your chest. That ache that says, you were meant for more. That quiet knowing that you're standing at the edge of something greater, something vast. Powerful and terrifying, but real. That's not a coincidence. That's the call to rise. The call to break free from average and walk the path toward abundance, not just financial, but mental, emotional, spiritual wealth. Understand this: wealth is not a number in a bank account. It's a state of being. It's a byproduct of clarity, focus, vision, and relentless action. Wealth flows to those who command it with certainty, not those who merely wish for it. Wishing is passive. Command is power. Every empire ever built, every fortune ever made, began in the unseen world. In thought. In belief. Before Henry Ford changed transportation forever, he was just a farm boy with a vision too big for his surroundings. Before Carnegie, Rockefeller, Edison, or Disney made their mark, they were ridiculed, doubted, dismissed, until they weren't. So if you feel like no one believes in your vision yet, good. That means it's still yours. Still sacred. Still free from the contamination of compromise. The question is, will you believe in it long enough, deeply enough, fiercely enough to make it real? Everything begins with belief. Not shallow hope. Not empty affirmation. But belief forged in the furnace of decision. The kind of belief that laughs in the face of rejection. That keeps showing up when no one claps. That keeps building when the money's low, the critics are loud, and the nights are long. You must become obsessed with clarity. You cannot attract wealth if your mind is fogged by doubt. If your energy is scattered chasing every trend, every shortcut, every easy fix, you'll never build anything that lasts. Clarity is not found. It's forged. In solitude. In silence. In the battlefield of your own mind, ask yourself, what do you want? Not what's safe. Not what's popular. What do you truly want? Because until that is defined with ruthless precision, the world will decide for you, and the world is content to keep you average. Once clarity is locked in, vision must follow. Vision is the blueprint of abundance. It's the ability to see beyond the chaos, the setbacks, the critics, and build in your mind the world you want to live in. Disney saw theme parks before there was land. Edison saw light before there was a filament. You must see your life before it exists, and then walk toward it with everything you've got, but vision without purpose is hollow. Purpose is what fuels the days when nothing works. It's what keeps you moving when the applause fades. You don't attract wealth by chasing numbers, you attract it by becoming a person of value. A person on a mission so clear, so magnetic, that the world can't help but take notice. This is where discipline enters. And make no mistake, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is liberation. It is the bridge between your desire and your destiny. Every wealthy mind you admire, from Napoleon Hill to Steve Jobs, lived with a code. A standard. A sacred daily rhythm that forged greatness out of the mundane. You will not always feel motivated. But you can always be disciplined. Wake up early. Move your body. Feed your mind. Create before you consume. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does, and then act. Not perfectly. Not fearfully. But decisively. Action is the only cure for fear. The only way to prove to the universe and to yourself that you are serious. You cannot meditate your way into millions without movement. You cannot visualize your way into greatness without labor. Your imagination is the seed, your work is the soil, the sunlight, the water. Action attracts momentum. And momentum becomes a force so strong, even failure can't stop it. You will fail, expect it. Welcome it. But never dwell. Wealth builders don't dwell, they adjust. They study the hit, reframe the lesson, and move again. Gratitude must be your anchor. Not as a feel-good tactic, but as a power move. Gratitude shifts your frequency from lack to abundance instantly. It teaches your mind to focus on what's growing, not what's missing. It makes your current results irrelevant. Because your energy is already celebrating what's coming, there is power in the person who can say, I am thankful, even when they are still in the storm. Because storms don't last, but the mindset you build inside them does. Adaptability separates the rigid from the resilient. You cannot be addicted to one method. If the strategy fails, pivot. If the market shifts, evolve. You are not here to be loyal to a tactic, you are here to be loyal to the vision. The path may twist and turn, but the destination remains. Resilience is your armor. Not the absence of pain, but the refusal to be defined by it. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb finally came to life. 10,000 times. Imagine the patience, the obsession, the inner certainty required to endure that. Most would quit at the first 100. But Edison knew what few understand: failure is simply feedback. Nothing more. Nothing less. The quicker you learn, the faster you ascend. The average mind sees failure as an end. The abundant mind sees it as data. Adjust, refine, rise. Again and again. This is the rhythm of wealth. This is the heartbeat of mastery. And it is not reserved for the elite, it is reserved for the relentless. Learning becomes your weapon. Your advantage. While others scroll endlessly through distraction, you must become a student of power. Study the builders. The giants. The visionaries who bent reality to their will. Carnegie read thousands of books. Hill interviewed the greatest minds of his generation. Oprah, Jobs, Musk, all obsessive learners. Not just for knowledge, but for transformation. They didn't learn to sound smart. They learned to become dangerous. Understand, the world does not reward the informed, it rewards the transformed. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do with what you know. So take that course. Read that book. Ask those questions. Apply. Integrate. Evolve. Wealth is not a mystery, it's a pattern. And once you see the pattern, you can replicate it. But most never will. Because they never stay in the game long enough to recognize it. They quit at the first sign of discomfort. They abandon the climb for comfort's illusion. But comfort is a thief. It robs you of your edge. It convinces you to settle. And those who settle never rise. Look around. The average person is broke not because they're incapable, but because they've been lulled into mental sleep. They react instead of create. They chase trends instead of truths. They live for Friday, complain about Monday, and wonder why life feels hollow. But you are waking up. You are starting to see. The old rules no longer apply. The safe path is crowded with the average. But the dangerous path, the path of risk, of growth, of fire, that's where the abundance lives. You will be called crazy, arrogant, unrealistic. They'll say your goals are too big. Your dreams too bold. Smile. Nod. Keep building. Because the same ones who doubt you now will one day ask how you did it. You don't need validation. You need vision. And more than that, you need emotional endurance. Because wealth is not just built on action, it is built on emotional control. You must train yourself to stay calm under pressure. To feel fear and move anyway. To be underestimated and stay focused. This is what separates leaders from dreamers. Do not waste your energy trying to convince people who have already decided not to believe. Do not cast your pearls before minds that refuse to stretch. Protect your vision from small minds. Your future is too valuable to be negotiated with the average. Remember this: what you tolerate, you invite. If you tolerate excuses, they will multiply. If you tolerate procrastination, it will become your identity. But if you demand more, if you hold yourself to a higher standard, the world will eventually rise to meet you there. Discipline, focus, execution. These are not suggestions, they are non-negotiables. Build your life like a fortress. Tighten your circle. Audit your time. Ditch the apps, the noise, the endless notifications. Silence the outer world so you can finally hear your inner one. You do not need to move fast. You need to move with precision. 1,000 distracted actions are useless. But one decision, fully made, backed by belief, sustained by action, can change your entire destiny. So stop waiting. Stop researching success like it's a theory to be studied. You already know what you need to do. The gap is not knowledge, it's execution. The life you want is not hiding. It's waiting behind the discomfort you're avoiding. Build the habits that shape greatness. Wake up earlier than you want. Say no more than you say yes. Track your goals daily. Speak your vision like it already exists. Surround yourself with people who force you to level up, not level down. And when you get tired, because you will rest, but don't retreat. Fatigue is part of the process. Doubt is part of the process. But quitting? Quitting is a decision. And if you're committed to abundance, that decision is off the table. Abundance is not found in force, it's found in flow. But flow only happens when you've laid the foundation. When your rituals are sharp. When your mind is clean. When your emotions are grounded. That's when creativity moves through you. That's when ideas land. That's when money flows. Money does not come to desperation, it comes to alignment. When your purpose, your habits, your focus, and your action are aligned, money becomes a byproduct. Not the goal. The result, so let go of the timeline. Let go of needing it to happen overnight. Overnight success is a myth told by those who never saw the years of invisible labor behind it. Build quietly. Move in silence. Let results speak, because one day, you'll look back on the struggle and realize it was the forge. The pain was the path. The setbacks were setups. The silence was your training ground. While others were complaining, you were creating. While others were blaming, you were building. While others were waiting, you were working, and that's why you won't be average. Ever again. Abundance doesn't respond to wishful thinking, it responds to alignment, to intensity, to absolute emotional certainty. You cannot attract wealth from a state of lack. You must embody wealth, even before it shows up in your bank account. This is the paradox most never grasp: you don't get wealthy and then feel rich. You feel rich, you act rich in spirit, in standards, in thought, and then the world responds. It's not arrogance. It's identity. And identity is the engine behind every action. If you see yourself as just trying, you will take the actions of someone trying. If you see yourself as a leader, a builder, a magnet for wealth, your behavior shifts. Your posture shifts. Your energy shifts. And the results follow. This is what Hill meant when he said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Most can conceive. Few believe. Even fewer sustain belief through the storm. But belief, unshakable, immovable belief, is the cornerstone of all abundance. It is the soil where every great enterprise was born. Look at Edison, failing thousands of times in pursuit of a single idea. People laughed. He worked. They doubted. He believed. And eventually, the world lit up. This is the path. You must protect your belief like a sacred fire, because the world will try to extinguish it. Not always with cruelty. Often with concern. With reason. With logic. They will hand you the playbook for mediocrity and call it realistic. They will urge you to be practical as if practicality ever built empires, but you are not here to blend in. You are here to break patterns. To defy statistics. To make the average uncomfortable just by being fully alive. And that will cost you comfort, certainty, even some relationships. But what you gain? A life on fire with purpose. A destiny that echoes beyond your name. That is the trade. And it is worth everything. Purpose is not found in comfort. It is found in pursuit. The pursuit of mastery, of service, of something bigger than your ego. You don't chase money, you chase impact. You don't pursue status, you pursue contribution. And in doing so, wealth follows. Not because you begged for it, but because you earned it through alignment with truth. Your work must mean something. If it doesn't move you, it will never move the world. If you don't believe in it, no amount of marketing will save it. You must breathe it. You must bleed for it. And then, you must deliver it to the world without apology. Discipline becomes your offering. Consistency, your weapon. Most people will dabble for a few weeks. Then quit. They'll call it not working when in reality, it's them who stopped working. But you? You stay. You plant. You water. You wait. And eventually, the roots grow deep enough to carry the weight of your future, and make no mistake, wealth has weight. Abundance comes with responsibility. It will demand more of you. More precision. More clarity. More self-control. And if you have not built the strength to carry it, you will drop it the moment it arrives, so prepare now. Not for someday. For now. Act like it's already yours. Speak like it's already happening. Train like you're already there. This is not delusion, it's direction. Your nervous system must acclimate to the level you are calling in. You cannot manifest millions with the habits of 100. You cannot build empires with the routines of the average. You cannot lead others until you have mastered yourself, so train. Ruthlessly. Physically, mentally, emotionally. The world respects the prepared. The universe rewards the aligned. Your future self is watching you. Every skipped workout, every delayed decision, every time you let fear win, it's being recorded. And it shows up not as punishment, but as result. You are always planting something. Every day, every hour, every choice. The question is, are you planting weeds or trees? Is your daily action feeding your dream or starving it? And if you don't like the answer, good. That discomfort is a signal. Use it. Don't numb it with distraction. Don't silence it with denial. Channel it. Let it fuel your next move, because this is how you rise. Not in one glorious moment, but in 1,000 invisible ones. In early mornings. In late nights. In uncomfortable conversations. In lonely hours of relentless work, and eventually, the world will notice. They'll call it luck. They'll call it talent. Let them. You'll know the truth. You'll know the blood. The sweat, the silence that built the noise, this is the path. From average to abundance, and it's not for everyone. But it is for you, because you're still here, you're still listening, you're still hungry, and that hunger, that refusal to settle, that refusal to sleepwalk through life, that's what separates the few from the many, that's what creates wealth, not the paper kind, but the power kind. The kind that rewires generations. That shifts legacies. That turns names into movements. You are not just building for you, you are building for everyone who comes after, so rise. Rise, because your ancestors dreamed of days like this. Rise, because mediocrity is not your inheritance. Rise, because somewhere deep within you is a version of yourself that's been screaming to be let out. A version that's tired of shrinking. Tired of explaining. Tired of watching others live the life that was meant for you, but let's be clear. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by deciding. Wealth doesn't respond to wishing. It responds to decision. The moment when you stop negotiating with your old life. The moment you burn the backup plan. The moment you say, this is who I am now, And every cell in your body gets the message. That kind of decision has a frequency. It alters your reality. It's the difference between someone who tries and someone who becomes, and becoming requires clarity. You must know what you want, not vaguely, not hypothetically, with precision. The world cannot deliver to a foggy mind. It responds to clarity like a lock to a key. Not I want to be rich, but I am building a business that impacts lives and generates $10 million annually. Not I want freedom, but I wake up in Bali, train at sunrise, and run my empire from my phone. Paint it. See it. Smell it. Own it, and then align your actions with it ruthlessly. Most people live in contradiction. They say they want abundance, and then spend their mornings scrolling. Their evenings escaping, their weekends avoiding the very work that could free them, but you, if you are serious, must close the gap between your words and your walk. You must become unavailable for distraction. Unavailable for laziness. Unavailable for excuses dressed as logic. Every time you choose discipline over dopamine, you cast a vote for your future self. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you make your identity more powerful. Because in the end, wealth doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you repeat. Excellence is repetition. Success is rhythm. Greatness is what happens when boring becomes sacred. When the world is sleeping, and you are still moving forward, focused, unshaken, and yes, it will get hard. You will question everything. You will be tempted to return to the life you once knew, because it's familiar, and familiarity can feel like comfort, even when it's killing you, but do not go back. You've come too far to quit now. You've tasted the edge. You've glimpsed who you could be. You owe it to yourself to see it through. Because the pain of becoming is temporary, but the pain of regret? That echoes forever. You must embrace discomfort as your training ground. The pressure is not here to break you. It's here to mold you. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Legends are born in adversity. And the man or woman you're becoming is being sculpted in the fires most people run from, so don't run, stand in the storm. Let it forge you. Let it strip away your weakness. Let it show you what you're made of. This is not punishment. This is preparation, preparation for the weight of the vision you claim to want. Preparation for the abundance you say you're ready for. Because true wealth is not about accumulation. It's about responsibility. When you rise, others will follow. When you speak, people will listen. When you lead, lives will shift, but only if you've earned it. Only if your roots go deep enough to carry the fruits. And how do you build those roots? Through work. Through sweat. Through reading when others are partying. Through investing when others are spending. Through building your mind like a fortress and your heart like a lighthouse. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. Ask yourself daily, are my actions matching my ambition? If not, adjust. Don't rationalize. Don't excuse. Just adjust. Because the gap between who you are and who you want to be isn't time. It's alignment. And the moment you align in thought, in energy, in behavior, you collapse that gap. That's when time bends. That's when momentum surges. That's when opportunities that once seemed impossible start showing up, one after another, as if the universe was just waiting for you to get serious. And it was. The universe does not play favorites. It plays by laws. And one of those laws is this: you get what you believe you're worthy of, not what you hope for, not what you beg for, what you believe. Deep down. Subconsciously. Unshakably. So ask yourself now, what do I believe I deserve? Wealth? Freedom? Impact? Or just survival? Because if your internal thermostat is set to average, even if you earn more, you'll find a way to lose it. You'll sabotage. You'll shrink. You'll return to your set point, so raise the set point. Raise the standard. Become the kind of person who attracts abundance not through effort alone, but through identity. Through alignment. Through resonance. You don't chase wealth. You become wealth. You don't hunt success. You embody success, and from that place, that vibration, you no longer ask if it will happen, you ask how soon, and that's when the world bends. Not because you forced it, but because you became undeniable. The undeniable are not born, they are forged. Like Ford, who revolutionized an industry with relentless focus on efficiency and vision. Like Carnegie, who transformed steel into an empire by mastering the art of persistence and strategic thinking. Like Edison, who failed thousands of times, not because he lacked talent, but because he refused to let failure dictate his destiny. This is the alchemy of abundance, transforming your setbacks into fuel, your doubts into direction, your fears into fire. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, every no a redirection, every late night and early morning a testament to your commitment. Understand this: wealth is not a reward for luck. It is the natural consequence of consistent alignment between your deepest desires and your daily actions. It is the echo of your inner conviction manifesting in the outer world. When you focus relentlessly, distractions fade into insignificance. The noise of doubt, the sirens of procrastination, the whispers of mediocrity, all become background static to the symphony of your purpose. And purpose, pure, unshakable purpose, becomes your compass when the fog thickens and the road twists. Discipline is not a burden, it is the muscle of freedom. Without it, your vision is a castle built on sand, vulnerable to every tide of distraction. But with discipline, your vision becomes a fortress. Unbreakable and enduring, gratitude is the unseen fuel that sustains your journey. It is the recognition that every lesson, every challenge, every moment of struggle is a gift in disguise. It rewires your brain to see opportunity where others see defeat. It turns scarcity into abundance before your goals even materialize. Adaptability is your secret weapon. The world shifts at the speed of thought, and those who cling rigidly to the old ways find themselves left behind. But the flexible thrive, bending like bamboo in the storm, unbroken and resilient. Resilience is the heartbeat of transformation. It is the unyielding refusal to be defeated by failure or fear. It is what allows you to stand tall after every fall, stronger and wiser. It is the silent roar within you that says, "I am not finished yet." Learning is your endless horizon. The greatest wealth is not stored in banks, but in minds open to growth. Like Lincoln, who educated himself beyond the confines of his circumstances, or Disney, who turned dreams into reality through constant innovation. Your commitment to learning creates a perpetual spring of new possibilities. From average to abundance is not a leap, it is a series of deliberate steps taken every day with unwavering focus. It is the surrender of comfort in exchange for growth. It is the quiet, often unseen work of building a legacy. And the final truth, the one that Napoleon Hill whispered to us across generations, is this: what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, but belief is more than hope. It is the foundation upon which action is built. It is the fortress protecting your dreams from the siege of doubt, so stand now in your truth. Claim your vision with the ferocity of a warrior and the grace of a sage. Harness your focus like a laser, cutting through distractions and fears alike. Let every heartbeat echo your purpose. The path is not easy. It is not for the faint-hearted. But it is for the determined, the relentless, the brave. You are not average. You are abundance in motion, and the world is waiting for you to show up fully, fiercely, and without apology. Let the fire rise, because there is something inside you, ancient, unyielding, eternal, that refuses to die quietly. It is the echo of every generation before you who dreamed of more but never had the chance to become it. And now, in this moment, you are the culmination of that untapped greatness. You are not here to survive, you are not here to play small, you are here to shape, to build, to elevate, from nothing, something. From average, extraordinary. From scarcity, wealth, but wealth does not begin with numbers in a bank. Wealth begins as energy, as vibration. As a thought so clear, so potent, so unwavering, it reshapes your behavior. And behavior, when repeated with ruthless intent, becomes destiny. This is not magic. It is law, the law of cause and effect. The law of focus. The law of identity. You become what you consistently dwell upon, you attract what you consistently believe you are worthy of, you move toward the image that dominates your inner world. So I ask you, what image are you carrying? Is it the version of yourself that settles for less? That accepts mediocrity, that waits for approval, that boasts of fear and hesitates at the edge of risk? Or is it the version of yourself who leads, who speaks with authority, who executes without permission, who creates wealth because they become wealth in spirit, in word, in action? There is a war inside every person, the battle between the voice of the average and the voice of the absolute. The voice that says, stay safe, and the one that roars, break free. And you must choose, every day, which voice you feed. Because that voice will become your reality. Lincoln was born in poverty. Edison was labeled unteachable. Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Hill was laughed at for believing that thoughts could become things. But each of them silenced the voice of doubt with discipline, with vision, and with a level of focus that bordered on obsession. That's what it takes. The world does not hand out wealth to the interested. It does not reward the kind of committed. It only answers to the obsessed. The ones who are all in, not just Monday morning motivation, but the Tuesday grind, the Wednesday discipline, the Thursday sacrifice, the Friday refusal to quit, and the weekend evolution that happens when no one's watching. That's how you rise. Every moment you delay, someone else is acting. Every second you doubt, someone else is choosing certainty. Every excuse you make, someone else is turning theirs into fuel. And it's not about competition, it's about alignment. Because the truth is, your wealth already exists, it's already out there. The relationships, the deals, the partnerships, the ideas, the energy, the results, the fulfillment, the life, but it can only meet you at the level of your vibration, at the level of your belief. At the level of your focus, raise the level, and reality bends to meet you. Lower it, and the world shrinks into scarcity. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So become it, breathe it, move like it, speak like it, walk into every room like you already own it, not with arrogance, but with awareness, the awareness that you have paid the price in hours, in focus, in pain, in preparation. The awareness that you have turned yourself into a weapon of value, precision, and purpose. And when that awareness becomes your standard, wealth is no longer a question of if. It becomes the inevitable result of who you've become: relentless, focused, unstoppable, abundant. Because the mountain of wealth, true, lasting wealth, was never built in a single strike of luck or one lightning flash of inspiration. It was built brick by brick, hour by hour, choice by choice, by those who refuse to abandon the climb. Understand this: there are two types of people in this world. The first waits for conditions to be perfect before they move. They wait for the economy to turn. They wait for motivation to strike. They wait for someone to choose them. And then there is the other kind, the rare kind. They don't wait. They declare their future before the world sees it. They declare their value before anyone claps for it. They declare their mission and burn the boats behind them. Because they know, certainty is not a feeling, certainty is a decision. You don't become confident and then act, you act your way into confidence. You act your way into wealth. You act your way into a new identity, one decision at a time, and every decision you make is a vote for the person you're becoming, or a vote for the person you're settling for. Every morning you sleep in when you said you wouldn't. Vote every hour wasted on distraction and envy. Vote every time you tell yourself someday instead of now. Vote, but every time you rise early. Vote every time you invest in your mind. Vote every time you do the hard thing without applause. Vote. And over time, the ballot box of your life gets counted, and the world will simply reflect back who you voted to become. That is the essence of relentless focus. Focus isn't just about productivity. It's not about time management apps or noise-canceling headphones. No real focus is sacred. It's a spiritual discipline. It is the ability to hold the vision of your future so fiercely in your mind that every lesser temptation burns away in its light. Do you want to know how Carnegie built empires? How Ford changed industries? How Oprah turned pain into power? They focused on what they could control. They focused on their mission, not their competition. They focused on what they were creating, not what they were escaping. And they did it relentlessly. There will be days when you are tired. There will be seasons when results seem invisible. There will be moments where your past screams louder than your future. That's where most people fold. But that's where wealth is born, in the gap between planting and harvest, the gap between action and reward, the gap between the life you live and the one you are building. If you can stay faithful in the gap, you will arrive at a place most never see, because wealth is not something you chase, it's something you align with. It flows to those who are congruent in thought, in energy, and in execution. You can't think like the poor and act like the rich. You can't speak words of doubt and expect abundance. You can't surround yourself with average and hope to rise above it. You must declare war on anything that keeps you small. Complacency. Distraction. Victimhood, the stories, the patterns, the beliefs that were never yours to begin with, burn them. Because when you release the false, you make room for the true, and the truth is this: you were not made to be average. Average is a lie whispered to extraordinary people by a world afraid of their power. Average is the comfort zone dressed in a mask of logic. Average is the slow death of potential. But you are dangerous when you decide. You are unstoppable when you lock eyes with the version of you that already exists in the future and say, I'm coming. And not only am I coming, I'm bringing everything I am, every hour, every drop of sweat, every late night, every early morning, every ounce of faith and every scar earned in silence, because that's what wealth respects. Not talent, commitment, not dreams, decisions, not desire, discipline. You want to attract wealth? Then become wealth. Carry yourself like it, think like it, work like it, speak like it, until the world no longer asks what you do, they ask how you became what you are. And when they do, you won't need to explain, your life will speak louder than any words ever could. And so, we continue, not because we are finished, but because we've only just begun to uncover who you were truly meant to be. You see, most people stop when it gets hard, the grind becomes too quiet, the applause fades, the climb gets steep, but champions, builders, visionaries, they don't stop, they become more focused. They don't need external noise to validate their direction, they don't require cheerleaders. They don't need trending quotes to wake up early, because their fire comes from within. There is a power that awakens when you decide, this is my path. No matter how long it takes. No matter who understands it. No matter how many times I must rise alone. That's where transformation happens, not on the surface, but in the core, because wealth, true wealth, begins not with money, but with identity. You don't build empires from bank accounts. You build them from belief, belief that bends reality, belief that defies logic, belief that declares, this life, this one right here, is mine to shape. And let me tell you, the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who is quietly working while the world scrolls, the one who has gone dark, not because they're lost, but because they're building in silence, because they understand the truth. Focus is the new superpower, when the average person is distracted 1,000 times a day. You become lethal by simply mastering your attention. Every time you choose depth over dopamine, presence over panic, craft over consumption, you gain an edge that no algorithm can compete with. The wealthy, the truly wealthy, are not ruled by urgency, they're ruled by intention. They don't chase 100 things. They align with one. Because when your vision is clear, your yes becomes rare, and when your yes is rare, your time becomes sacred, and when your time is sacred, wealth follows, because you're no longer bleeding your life away on what doesn't move the needle. You attract what you are committed to, not what you say you want, what you prove you're willing to suffer for. Suffering, not in the sense of pain for pain's sake, but in the discipline to say no to distraction. The courage to be misunderstood. The strength to stay the course while the world watches someone else's highlight reel. You are not here to watch, you are not here to wish, you are here to build, and building requires pain. Pressure. Perseverance, but the reward? Oh, the reward is not just the wealth, it's who you become along the way, the sharpness of your mind, the depth of your character, the immovability of your spirit, the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you earned this. No shortcuts. No inheritance. No luck. Just relentless focus, relentless belief, relentless execution. You want abundance? Then discipline is not the enemy, it is the doorway. Gratitude is not a side habit, it is the engine. Clarity is not a luxury, it is a requirement. Because in a world of noise, distraction, and scattered dreams, the one who sees clearly, who acts with intention, who believes with fire, becomes unstoppable. And yes, there will be storms. There will be setbacks, you will be tested, not once, not twice, but constantly, but each time life pushes, you push back harder, because you are not made of paper, you are forged like steel in the fire of failure, in the silence of discipline, in the sacred furnace of solitude, and every obstacle that rises is just another weight to lift, another opportunity to grow stronger. To become more focused, more disciplined, more dangerous. Let the world sleep on you, let the doubters scoff, let the average mock what they cannot understand. Because one day, they will look up and you will not be where they left you, you will have risen, and the path you carved, from average to abundance, will become a map for the next soul brave enough to walk it. And deeper we must go, because the gold you seek, the wealth you dream of, the transformation you crave, none of it lives on the surface. It waits in the depths, it waits beyond convenience, beyond the habits you inherited, beyond the beliefs that were handed to you by a world that gave up on its dreams too early. This world teaches conformity, it rewards compliance, it praises safety. But wealth, true wealth, was never born in safety. It was born in defiance, defiance of limits, defiance of fear, defiance of the voice that whispers, "You're not enough." Do you think Henry Ford waited for permission before he redefined industry? Do you think Carnegie asked for approval to rewrite the narrative of steel? Do you think Oprah consulted with doubt before building an empire on truth? No, they chose clarity over confusion, they chose vision over validation, they chose to listen to the quiet voice within, the one that says, "There is more." And it's yours if you dare. Because that's the price of abundance, daring to believe in yourself before the world does, daring to take steps into the fog when the path isn't lit, daring to act like the person you want to become even when the results haven't caught up yet. This is the power of relentless focus. When you focus, you collapse time, you compress decades into years, you make quantum leaps that look like magic but are born from blood, sweat, and sacred attention, and that attention is sacred, because every moment you give to something that doesn't build you subtracts from the person you could become. You were not born to scroll through someone else's life. You were not born to live in reaction, you were not born to survive, you were born to create. To move. To own, but ownership starts here, in the mind. If your mind is undisciplined, your results will be random. If your attention is fractured, your wealth will be too. But if your thoughts become intentional, your life will become inevitable. Wealth begins when the inner world becomes more vivid than the outer, when you can see the invisible and trust it long enough to make it visible. Think of Walt Disney. When the world saw a swamp, he saw a kingdom. When the critics laughed, he built castles. Why? Because he didn't wait for evidence. He created it, and you must do the same. Do not wait for the world to believe in your vision, because it won't, not at first. It will laugh, resist, ignore. Until one day, it can't. And by then, you won't need validation, because you will have something more powerful, proof that relentless focus bends reality, proof that discipline compounds, proof that clarity cuts through chaos, proof that the man or woman who refuses to break will eventually bend the world. That is your power, but you must choose it. Choose to wake up earlier, choose to train your mind while others numb theirs, choose to protect your energy, your circle, your thoughts, like your life depends on it, because it does. This is not just about money, it's not even just about success, it's about freedom, creation, impact. It's about becoming the type of person who can carry the weight of a dream without being crushed by it. And to carry that dream, you must build the foundation, the mental muscles, the emotional intelligence, the daily habits that seem small but separate the average from the elite. Brick by brick, action by action, you build the identity of the person who attracts wealth, not just chases it, because wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you become. And to become it, you must give up what no longer serves you, let go of small thinking, let go of cheap entertainment, let go of waiting for the right time. Now is the time, you are the one, this is the path, from average to abundance, and every step forward is a declaration. I will not live this life small, I will not die with dreams buried, I will not hand my power over to excuses, fear, or the opinions of people who've already quit on themselves. You are not here to blend in, you are here to break through, so breathe deep, square your shoulders, and remember, every action you take with clarity, every moment you resist distraction, every hour spent building what matters, moves you one step closer to the life that was always waiting for you. It's not out there, it's in here, in the furnace of your focus, the fire of your faith, the foundation of your discipline. Keep going. The path to wealth isn't linear, but it is yours if you are willing to pay the price, and the price is simple, relentless focus. And what is TH? It is forged not in bursts of motivation, but in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It's in the MO, it's in the moment. Relentless focus is not about being perfect, it's intentional. Every single day, when you sit down to work, do you build, or do you browse? When you speak, do you declare your future, or do you repeat your past? Everything you do is either a deposit or a withdrawal from your future wealth. There is no neutral ground, so audit your life like an empire. Cut what doesn't serve, elevate what does. Sharpen your rituals until they become sacred. Routines are not boring, they are the architecture of freedom. Discipline is not restriction, it is liberation from chaos. You do not rise by chance, you rise by design, the same way the great builders of history did. Do you think the pyramids rose from passion alone? Do you think Tesla's brilliance was enough without obsession? Do you think Nelson Mandela endured decades of prison for a vague idea? No, they had focus that bordered on madness. They had a vision so clear it burned through pain. They had a mission that made excuses irrelevant, and you, yes, you have access to that same fire, but you must protect it. Ruthlessly, guard your mornings, protect your space, decline what dilutes you, because every no to distraction is a yes to your legacy. The average man chases 10 things and catches none. The wealthy man chooses one and masters it, and through that mastery, wealth comes not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Focus is how you say to the universe, I am ready. Not with your words, but with your actions, not with your hopes, but with your habits, because wealth does not come to the most talented, it comes to the most aligned, the man who aligns his thoughts, his emotions, his environment, and his time with a singular vision. He becomes unstoppable, not because he's perfect, but because he is relentless. And when you become relentless, life bends, people notice, opportunities appear, doors open that were always there, but you couldn't see them while you were distracted. You don't need more chances. You need more clarity, you don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness, you don't need a new path. You need to commit fully to the one you're already on. It's not the conditions. It's your conviction. When Thomas Edison said, I have not failed, I just found 10,000 ways that won't work, he wasn't being clever. He was speaking from the gut-wrenching experience of a man who refused to let failure define the finish line. That's what wealth requires, a refusal to quit. A refusal to be mediocre, a refusal to hand over your future to anything but your highest self. Relentless focus is the bridge between your current life and the one you dream of, but you cannot tiptoe across it. You must march, with eyes locked forward and heart on fire, because there will be days when nothing makes sense. There will be nights where doubt creeps in like a thief. There will be seasons where results are silent, but the work remains loud. That's when most people fold. But not you, because you are not most people. You are not here to taste success, you are here to devour it. You are not here to flirt with wealth, you are here to marry it, to become one with it. To live it so completely that it becomes your default state, and that, my friend, is the highest kind of wealth, the wealth of identity, the wealth of knowing you became exactly who you were born to be. No regrets, no excuses, no what-ifs, just the echo of your footsteps on the road you carved with your own hands, and the view from the summit you refuse to stop climbing. This is the path, this is the way. From average to abundance, not by luck, not by accident, but by the sacred fire of relentless focus.